I am in control of my life. No one else. No thing and no one determines where I will end up except me. It's all me. My attitude, my work ethic, my desire, my response to challenges. It's all me. I believe in myself. I have the power. Everything I need is within me. Everything I seek, I can create. Don't tell me circumstances can stop me. Nothing can stop me unless I decide to give up. I have the power. I have the power to create whatever I want in my life. I have the power to become the person I want to become. I have the power to summon everything I need to create the person I want to be. I summon the discipline I need to succeed. I summon the dedication and determination I need to reach my dream. I summon the strength to persevere through the hardest of times in my life. I summon the humility to know always that I am never above or below any other, and I am never done growing. I summon the desire of a warrior to win at all costs and the focus of a lion to hunt my goals until my goal is caught. I summon the consistency to keep going, even after I have achieved my greatest of challenges. I have the power. I will not pray for easier times. I will remain thankful that I developed the strength required to survive any and all times. I have the power. I have the power to take control of any situation. I know there is always a solution. No situation has to be a life sentence. In every situation, there's a lesson, and in every challenge, there can be a solution. If I am willing to look for it and work for it, I have the power. I have the power to take my life to the next level. Even when I think I've reached my peak, I know there's always room for more growth. There's always a bigger mountain, and I am ready to find that mountain. I have the power. I am grateful for my progress. I will never forget where I came from, but I am also well aware that the true beauty in life comes from pushing to find the best version of myself. I am grateful for the energy I need to push for my goals. I will never underuse this given energy. I have the power. I thrive in growth. My growth inspires and expands myself and others. I have the power. I have the power to create a life greater than even my own expectations. The human mind and body is so powerful. The ability to grow and expand is never ending. I will keep pushing until my ending. I'm committed, excited, and forever curious to see how great I can become. I have the power. I am grateful that my life and my results are in my own control. Circumstances don't define me. My work does. My effort does. My focus does. My discipline does. I have the power.
You can either sit around and listen to testimonies, or you can become one. Which one you gonna do? Successful people know what they want and why they want it. That's why they are successful. You gotta make a decision. What is it that you want? You can either sit around and listen to testimonies, or you could become one. I am truth in motion. Listen here. Truth is its own gatekeeper. Nothing can stop what truth sets in motion. You gotta stop asking for other people's permission to live your dream. It's not the other people that owe you. You owe you. Stop begging for what you haven't earned. It's time to get up and grind. I strum the divine chord, and my harmony summons the full manifestation of who I am. This is what truth looks like in motion. Young, gifted, and burning. Successful people get comfortable being uncomfortable. The common person will do anything to do nothing. They lazy. That's why they sell so many of them lazy boy chairs. You can either sit around and listen to testimonies, or you can become one. What is it that you want? Sculpted by the blade itself. 1,000 knives couldn't kill me. But there in the darkness, underneath her shadows, the warrior discovered himself. Shaped from the hammer of pain, 1,000 betrayals couldn't break me. But there in the storm, at the very center of her chaos, the champion in me got stronger. Truth is the gatekeep. Stop asking the world for permission to live your dream. The less we entertain lower level thinking, the less we will experience its outcome. You can either sit around and listen to testimonies, or you could become one. For it is written, but be doers of the word and not hearers only. I can see my dream so clearly now that its manifestation is inevitable. Nothing can stop me. My daddy used to tell me, son, if you're gonna make a mistake, then make it full speed. Some people drown, others go out in a blaze of glory. I'm young, rich, and burning. If a desire burns long enough, it'll grow into an obsession. Whatever becomes an obsession will eventually become a reality. Religion talks about truth, but true awareness demonstrates it. Greatness is in the details, shaped from the hammer of pain. 1,000 failures couldn't stop me. Carved out with the razors of suffering. 1,000 lies couldn't fool me. For in the moment of trial, beyond the grasp of all hope, I wrote my own story. I dreamed my own dream. I seized the moment. I made the decision to stop asking for permission. But there in the night, above her angry mountains, the seven thunders gave birth to a warrior. Death belongs to the unaware. Those who have awakened know only eternity. I am truth in motion. I strum the divine chord, and my harmony summons the full manifestation of who I am. You can either sit around and listen to testimonies, or you can become one. Son, you're just a dreamer. That thing you're dreaming that's never gonna happen. I would ask myself every single day, are you just a dreamer? Or are you a person who can grind until they execute? Somebody who can make that dream a reality. Is that you? Get clear on what you want in life. And you do that by starting with the way you want to feel. How do you want to feel every single day when you get up? Every day that I get up, I want to be on fire. I want to do the things that I'm passionate about. I want to write. I want to speak. I want to create. I want to get in front of people and change lives. This is what I want to do every single day of my life. I wanted somebody to look at me and say, I believe in you. But that's the way it's always been in my life. See, when you dream big, it's like you speak a different language. The common man, the average person, will not understand a person who is dreaming on the next level. I know I'm talking to somebody out there right now who can relate to what I'm saying. You got dreams, you got ambitions. That 9-to-5 job is just not enough for you. You got this grand goal of conquering the world, but no one around you believes you. Listen to me, champion. Don't get discouraged by that. You see, the common man, the average person, they can only see with their eyes. But the greats, the legends, the difference makers, the ones that have rocked and shake this globe, they saw with their mind.
Something that should have been mine at first.
It don't take faith to dream small. You see, the world belongs to the bold and the rest are just spectators. What do you want your legacy here on earth to be? When you are dead and gone, what do you want people to say about you? Don't be scared to dream big. Successful people engage in only two types of activities: seizing opportunity or creating it. Now, greatness is an art. The brush that we use to paint this canvas of success is our mindset. The colors we assemble to bring that masterpiece to life are vision, discipline, grind, and perseverance. Now, to excel at this radical form of expression, we must stay focused and not let the distractions of the world interfere with our work. Now, every day, we must go to the altar of commitment and reconfirm our vows. From a burning state of truth, our hands must aggressively chase perfection. As artists of excellence and high achievement, we must never introduce the fear of failure into our work. Nor should we ever let the opinions of others deter us from pursuing our God-given destiny. May our sweat water the garden of dreams. May our dedication be the sun that makes our goals bloom. And may our why destroy any wall that dare stand against us. The actions we take are the hammer and chisel that carve our life into success. They are the brush and paint that transform our canvas of existence into greatness. They are the piano keys and guitar strings that make our life a song to remember. The warrior must do more than just fall in love with a dream. They must also marry the grind that it takes to make it a reality. Destiny believes in absolute equality. Therefore, every individual gets to experience the life their thinking deserves. It's not our president, political parties, government officials, the police, or some secret privileged elite establishment that continues to enslave us, but rather the inner dictators of our own minds. Now, when we seek to change the world by external means, we only fool ourselves into a deeper form of bondage. The fullness of the Emancipation Proclamation, set in motion by President Lincoln in 1862, can only be experienced and enjoyed by those who understand where real liberation comes from. Those who have yet to awaken to this fact will continue to remain shackled and imprisoned behind the iron bars of blind thinking. Regardless of their promises, no civil rights organization, no political party, no presidential candidate, no dream team law firm, nor any religious denomination can usher in what only us as individuals have the power to do. Slavery, since the beginning of time, has proven over and over that she is ignorant of all color. She does not discriminate on who she wishes to enslave. Anyone whose thinking will allow her to be their slave master, she will lash ruthlessly with her cruel whip of limitations. Her ownership can only be overthrown by the awareness of where her authority truly resides, and that place is in the mind. The true freedom riders of humanity will point us not to the voting polls of a future November, but rather to the liberating power residing within our own skulls right now. The laws of greatness are ignored and seen as madness to the common man. Those who want and desire to be massively successful must first take their mind and ways to the guillotine. The blessed and unstoppable believer understands that trials and tribulations are just chaotic voids begging to be penetrated by the power of the mind. Those who desire next level living must join the insurgency against the dream murdering regimes of average and complacency. Greatness can only be achieved by all-out war. This requires an aggressive, ruthless, daily attack on all corners of one's existence until the full overthrow and annihilation of the internal totalitarian government that enslaves the common man. To become the best version of you, you must do more than just think outside the box. You must totally destroy it. Your life should be a relentless form of subversive art that disrupts the false illusions of human limitations. Make no apologies to the ignorant for displaying the truth within you. Those who displayed genius, those who projected greatness, those who arose from nothing to become something were all first laughed at, doubted, and made fun of. The rejection of the world did not stop them. It merely intensified their desire to overcome the struggle and ascend to even higher levels of achievement. The world belongs to the bold. The warrior understands that to grind with bold action is the most powerful prayer of them all.
I don't run with people who count on me to put up 50 points. I run with people who put up 50 of their own. I put up 50, they put up, and we murder you. So look, Mike, that's why I respect Mike. If I can kill you, I'm killing you. I'm not giving you life. I'm not giving you no doggone game. I'm murdering you. If you can go in 4, you're going in 4. Mike ain't sweeping one team and then going 7 with another team. I'm sweeping everybody. Why? Because I'm putting up 50 every night. I'm not missing no free throws. I'm MJ. I ain't missing Jack. That's who I run with. My people don't miss assignments. My top dogs don't miss assignments. When it's their turn to do what they do it with no flaw. And then I get up when I'm supposed to get up and murder it. You putting up 50 and your squad putting up 12. You don't stand a chance. We got that dog. We ain't reactive. One-dimensional players, no disrespect, one-dimensional players aren't in the league. One-dimensional players ain't in the league. What made Michael Jordan is he can put up 30 and he can shut your butt down. He can play offense, he can play defense. He can play 40 minutes, 48 minutes. And most of you in this room, your problem is you're one-dimensional and you're trying to hang your hat on that. So what? I'm the #1 motivational speaker in the world. Am I the #1 father in the world? My kids don't care nothing about YouTube. My wife don't care nothing about YouTube. So what? You're the #1 motivational speaker. Are you the #1 husband? When you come home, cut all that foolishness off and give me. Life punks you. Life punks you and say, do you really want this? I'm gonna give your wife MS. Do you really want this? 5 of your aunts gonna die of cancer. Do you really want this? You gonna lose friends. Do you really want this? Your mama gonna be pissed when you write the book about your family. Do you really want this? Do you really want this? Cousins gonna abandon you. People that you used to be like this with gonna think you bougie and don't wanna deal with you. It's a part of it, but I paid too much. If I was gonna quit, I would have quit in the abandoned building when I wanted to commit suicide and take my life. I should have quit when I heard my voice say, your mama don't want you, your own daddy don't want you, take your life. I got through that, so why I'm gonna quit over a grade, a F on a grade? Why would I quit because I didn't do well on the master's degree? Come on. And so I'm telling y'all, you have come too far to quit now. You have invested too much to quit now. You have lost too much to quit now. Get a reward for your pain. 1984, he was the Rookie of the Year. Led the NBA in scoring from 84 to 93. 5-time All-Star appearance, 5-time MVP. 1988 Defensive Player of the Year. Nike contract signed in 1984. Those stats have nothing to do with the benchmark. Michael Jordan said that I want to help the Chicago Bulls have the same type of franchise as the Boston Celtics, as the Los Angeles Lakers. I want Chicago Bulls to be respected. When are you gonna get to the reality and say, this ain't who I said I was, and this ain't the life I said I was gonna have? It's time to stop looking at the stats and trying to make excuses with the stats, and it's time to step up. This is you, because you are worshiping who you currently are. All you want to talk about is what you're doing. All you want to do when somebody tells you that you're not doing X, Y, and Z, you want to remind them that you was the 3rd overall pick. When somebody tells you what you're not doing, you want to remind them that you was the Rookie of the Year. When somebody tells you what you're not doing, you want to tell them that you was leading in scoring from 84 to 93. You got to remind yourself of the conversation you had with yourself. You got to remind yourself what you told yourself. Come on, before you compromised. You got to remind yourself. There are those of you, #1, the reason why you can't get to great, the reason why you're not habit stacking, because you're in love with good. And what I need you to understand is that the dream needs to be the benchmark, not your current stats. The first level to success in sports, the first level to success in life. Listen to me, the very first level is you seeing it like it's clear to you. Like you know exactly what you want. You know exactly when you want it. Listen to me, you know exactly what it tastes like. You know what it looks like. You know what it smells like. Like before you really blow up and you get success, like you literally have it in the palm of your hand without having it. And y'all do that little stuff about you gonna eat, but y'all ain't got no doggone motor. You get tired quick. You practice for 1 or 2 days, you wore out. You do a couple hours, you tired. But yet you competing against people right now, that's their lifestyle. And you think they about to let you take their lifestyle? Why? Because I got to stay hungry. I don't want to use titles that make me look sweet. I don't want to use titles that I try to keep it humble. I walk around, I don't even want people to know who I am. Why? Because I still want to have that dog. I still need to stay hungry. And when you got pride, it gets in the way of you being hungry. And you need that hunger. And I'm still fighting for something. What's gonna separate you from everybody else? What's gonna separate you from everybody else? Right? I don't know what that is for you. What are you gonna do to separate yourself?
I'm speaking to the people who want more. The people who want to be the fucking pinnacle. The people who want to be accomplished. The people who want to make a fucking difference. You guys are going to have to go all the fuck in.
Make a 100% commitment to give the best effort you've ever given to outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, outlast like never before.
You can't be motivated anymore. You don't need others to motivate you. You have to be self-motivated.
You can't listen to your mom. You can't listen to your dad. You can't listen to your friends. You can't listen to the fucking internet. You can't stick your fucking toe in the pool and say, oh, I don't know, this kind of feels weird. No, you have to dedicate every fucking breath, every fucking ounce of energy, and every fucking thought and effort that you possibly have in your heart to becoming what it is you want to be.
If you really want to make an impact, you must prepare for judgment.
You're gonna get a lot of hate. People are gonna just diss on you. People are gonna say, who do you think you are? If no one thinks you're crazy, you're not yet operating to the outer limits of your potential.
I actually appreciate my haters. My haters keep me grinding. I tell them all the time, if you want to pay attention to success, watch me. A lion never negotiates with a hyena. He ain't waking up in the morning and saying, I'm gonna go hang out with some hyenas. He ain't going to the same clubs where he know the hyenas don't like him anyway, because he don't concern himself with the conversations of hyenas. An eagle flies at a certain altitude, and the only other bird flies at that altitude is another eagle. So if he find himself flocking with pigeons, he may be flying too low. See, sometimes we asking ourselves, why my friends treating me like this? You hanging out with pigeons. Why they talking about me like this? Man, you hanging out with pigeons. Eagles ain't got time to gossip. Kings don't gossip. Fools party, kings celebrate. You got to come out your comfort zone, because your comfort zone is the deadliest place you will ever be.
You should never feel comfortable. You should be happy and dissatisfied.
Your ability to go all in, and when I say all in, I mean all the fuck in. Every moment, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every fucking year, for as long as it fucking takes for you to get where you're going.
You should be consumed with that path.
If you want to show me you want to win that bad, pack your calendar. You pack your calendar, that's how you show the world that you want to win, because everything is based off of activity.
It's very hard when you go up against somebody that shows up every flipping day where you sit there and say, take a damn week off, go on vacation. Why don't you slow down for a day or a month or 2 months or 3 months? Please let me catch up. Because hungry people, they're just more urgent than everybody else. If I need to learn a skill set today, I'm going to go buy the course today. I'm going to get better at it today. Not tomorrow, not this afternoon, not later on tonight, today.
What you do at night matters. What you do in the morning matters. What you do when your friends are out drinking matters. What you do on Saturday matters. What you do on Sunday matters. The success clock doesn't give a what day it is. It's gonna run no matter what. And you guys pretend like you can work 7, 8, 10 hours a day and then spend the rest of your time off, and you think you're going to be somewhere, and you're not. And you're surrounded by people who enable this thought process. Your good friends, your family, people who have accepted mediocrity as a life. Oh, you don't need to work on weekends. Why do you work so hard at night? Why do you get up so early and do that? Why do you train so hard? Why are you reading all these books when we're out drinking beer?
When you're obsessed, they're like, why are you gonna be so crazy? Why can't you be satisfied? Why do you always gotta get things so perfect? Why do you spend so much time with it? When you're obsessed, people think you're nuts.
Anybody ever tell you, hey look, just be satisfied with what you got? No, don't believe them. Get them away from you. You should never be satisfied with what you got. You should double your business. Triple it.
Because the attempt to get more transforms you into someone more significant.
Easy never pays well. So if you're thinking that it's just going to be a walk in the park, you're dead fucking wrong. You have to give it every fucking bit of effort and energy you have to pull it off. And you have to work harder than everyone else. Work while they sleep, learn while they party, save while they spend, and live like they dream.
Females are more emotionally driven, more emotionally impulsive than a good man should be. Saying that I felt like crying, so I cried, this makes me a real man, is as stupid as me saying, well, I felt like smashing his face in, so I smashed his face in. This makes me a real man. No, the hallmark of a real man is controlling himself, controlling his emotions, and acting appropriately regardless of how he feels. And throughout human history, this is exactly how men had to live their lives. Do you think that the teenagers storming the beaches of Normandy felt like crying? Of course they did. But they also knew that that wasn't the correct thing for them to do. They had a duty to commit to, they had an honor, and they did what they were supposed to do regardless of how they felt. That is the mark of a man. Weakness and absolute submission to your feelings are not the hallmarks of men. It's not the way society has ever been built. It's never been built off the backs of men who were crying their eyes out because they felt like crying. The only kind of men who advocate crying are the kind of men who do not have enough self-control to prevent themselves from crying. Because we're all human. There's times in your life, as a man, you're gonna feel like crying. It's gonna happen. But what you're supposed to do is not cry. Because this is a test in mental fortitude. And there is no physical fortitude, there's no financial fortitude, there's no other type of fortitude without mental fortitude. So when you feel like crying, you ensure you do not cry. And you act appropriately as a man should. The men who say no, succumb instantly to your emotions, are the kind of people who have no self-control. And let me tell you something about men who have no self-control. Men who live without self-control are the kind of men who cry when their girlfriend cheats on them, because she certainly does, because she doesn't respect the little crybaby, and she's only with you because she's ugly as fuck and she has to settle for a little soy boy pussy like you. And these guys sitting there, what they're trying to do by telling you to cry is drag you down to their level. You look at people like me, and I say, Ross, that's a big G. He's out there, he's fucking women, he's got his Lambo, he's a multi-millionaire, self-made, 6'4", 4-time kickboxing world champion, chess genius. I don't like the way he's living his life because he's kicking too much ass. You need to cry more. He's trying to drag me down to his level so I can be a little crybaby like him. And he wants everyone else who reads his tweets to be a crybaby too, because the more little weaklings he can create, the less bad he'll feel about himself. No man wants to be a little crybaby if they're honest with themselves, and no woman certainly wants to fuck a little crybaby. So don't listen to the advice of people who are living lives you wouldn't want to live. What's actually interesting is, I always use this analogy. If you could build yourself from the ground up, if you could literally just, like from a video game, just tick characteristic boxes and build yourself, nobody would choose to be a small, weak guy who has to cry when he gets upset. Everyone, when they get that application form from God saying build yourself for your next life, would tick tall, strong, smart, mentally tough, doesn't cry, gets pussy, rich. They tick all the things they tell me I'm bad, all the assets I have, everything that I am, they tell me is bad. But if they had the choice to have these things instantly, they would sign up. And the reason they don't have these things is because all of these things come from hard work. To be physically strong, you have to work out, that's difficult. To be financially independent, you have to be smart, that's difficult. So they don't have these things because they're hard for them to acquire, but they're very easy for them to acquire. They have them all. Nobody wants to be a crybaby. The mark of being a real man is not being a crybaby. The mark of a real man is walking down the street, 5 guys with knives coming up to try and rape your girlfriend, and you look at them in the face and saying, fuck you. It's not crumbling into a ball, crying your eyes out and say, I have emotions too. That just makes you a bitch.
So what gives you unlimited motivation?
I don't believe in motivation as a concept. I believe in discipline and defined purpose. People who ask about motivation are basically saying, I don't feel like doing this. How do I feel like doing this? And the answer is, the true red pill is, you're never going to feel like doing it all of the time. Sometimes you're not going to want to do it. Doesn't matter what it is. If I were to tell you to go fucking surfing or skateboarding or driving a Ferrari every day, there's going to be days you wake up where you just don't feel like doing it, no matter how fun it is. That's life. But if you do not do it when you don't feel like doing it, you will never perform against a person who does it regardless of how they feel. You have to make a decision. Forget about the idea of motivation, forget about the concept of it. Throw it away and decide who you are. And this is a genuine task for you all to complete. Go look in the mirror, look into your own eyes and decide, am I a fucking loser or am I a winner? Because if you're only gonna do what you feel like doing, you are a loser. That is the definition of a loser. A man who only does what he feels like doing is going to lose against the people who perform regardless.
If you lose, what are you? A fucking loser. I decided I was a winner, and I knew what it took to win. To win, I have to perform day after day, so I decided I'm going to do this every day, regardless of how I feel. Some days I'll enjoy it, some days I won't, some days it'll be fun, some days it won't. But I'm going to do it every single day to the best of my ability. I will not allow my emotional state to affect my actions. That's what winners do. Because, let's say you're a professional fighter, and you agreed to fight on the 13th of July. That day comes around. You might feel like fighting, you might feel like kicking someone's ass, you might not feel like fighting. You might be a little bit sick. But it's the day, the arena's booked, you have to fight. So you don't get to say, well, I don't feel like it now. You don't get to lose and tell people, well, I didn't feel like it on that day. You just have to do it. You have to be good enough on your worst day to beat your opponent on his best day. It might be your worst day, it might be his best day. You still have to fight, and you still have to win. That's the game. So when people ask me about motivation, I make it very clear. I say, listen, motivation has nothing to do with any of this. This is about who you are. It's about your purpose, your divine purpose given to you, dictated by God. Are you the kind of person who lives a life worth living, or are you a fucking loser? Now, watching this, there's going to be some of you which fall into each category. You're not all winners. You're in the right place. But some of you are probably still lazy losers. That's the reality. Listen to this video. Take 10 minutes out of your life, go look in the mirror, look yourself deep in the eyes, look at yourself, and decide, are you a fucking loser? Because if you're a fucking loser, you can go read and watch a bunch of shit about motivation to try and convince yourself to do a little bit of work. Or are you a winner? Because if you're a winner, you don't give a fuck how you feel. Work needs doing and it must be done.
Want you to submit to me your vision for your dream life. Every time I ask somebody what their dream life is, they give a very lazy, sloppy answer. Well, I want to be rich. How rich? What does rich mean? How much money? Is it in liquid cash? Is it in stocks? Is it in crypto? In which country is it held? How do you diversify to protect yourself against matrix attacks? Who's your accountant? What's the name of the banks your money's held in? What are you going to buy? For you to become rich and successful is going to require pain and suffering. And you have to understand exactly what your dream life is to make the pain and suffering worthwhile. Think about it. Have you ever been to the gym and seen a person in fantastic physical condition? They're strong, they're ripped, they're large. And you say to them, how did you get so big and strong? And they say, I don't know. Oops, it kind of just happened. Or have you ever found a really rich man or a very successful man and said, how did you become rich and successful? And he goes, I don't know, bro. I just woke up one day and it kind of happened and now I'm living my dream life. No, there is a very detailed plan and roadmap. For you to become strong, you must eat a certain way. You must train a certain way. For you to become rich, you must earn money a certain way. You must understand exactly how you're going to make money, whether you're going to be a public-facing figure like me or a man of the shadows with millions of dollars. Unknown, but extremely powerful. You have to design your dream life. What house are you going to live in? Who's your woman going to be? Is she blonde? Is she brunette? What car are you going to drive? Have you even gone on the internet and spec'd your car? You can design your dream car right now for free on the internet, and you can choose the color, you can choose the wheels, you can choose the carbon. Is it a Lamborghini? Is it a Ferrari? Is it a McLaren? How much does it cost to the dollar? You talk about your dream life. You don't even know what your dream life is. How do you expect to get to a destination when you don't know where you're going? Do you understand? I designed my dream life long ago, before I was known, before I had anything. And I worked very hard with a very concise, very detailed plan to ensure I ended up exactly where I wanted to be. And you're not going to end up where you want to be if you don't know where it is. So, for that reason, I want you to submit to me your dream life. I want you to be as detailed as possible. Do you have children? What house you're in? What your woman looks like? What's her personality like? Where did you meet her? What kind of person is she? What car do you drive? Who are your friends? Who are your network? What kind of men are you hanging around with? How are you making money? Are you known? Are you not known? What is your ideal job? How much money do you want to make a month? How much money do you have saved? You have to understand exactly what your dream life is. This is more than just an exercise in understanding how to become a successful person. This is an exercise in life. Without diligent planning, without concise, compendious plans, the chance of you achieving nearly anything is zero. And that is what we teach. Not only the ways to get rich, but also the mindset you should have once you're rich to ensure you're never a slave again.
If you can't get up and get after it, how do you expect to win? If you can't get up and get after it, how do you expect to go to another level? If you can't get up and get after it, how do you expect to raise the championship banner on your life? It's time for you to change your perception, because the reality is you gotta put something in to get something out.
You're gonna have those bad days, but keep on grinding. You're gonna wanna quit, but keep on grinding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important part of your life. It is a decision that you have to make within yourself. No one is responsible for that.
When pressure begins to build called life, because life is going to bring you ups and downs and mountains and valleys. And I'm sure some of you in here, your backstory is full of ups and downs and good days and bad days. I bet some of you in here, your backstory is full of a lot more difficulties and some traumas and some things it's hard for others to comprehend. See, pressure, it can create diamonds, or it can bust a pipe. Pressure's not the problem. Listen, to be honest, man, your life, what you faced in 2020 and 2021 and what some of you have experienced the last several years in your life, it's not going to be the most difficult thing that you probably have ever had to face. Maybe for some of you, it's been extremely painful. Maybe you've lost someone close to you of a trauma or an abuse or something really painful has happened. But for most of us, 2020 and 2021 won't be the most difficult thing that you've ever faced in your life. Life is about these ups and these downs, and it's about pressure and insecurities and just challenges. The challenge for you and me is, what will we do with the pressure that we're in? Will we allow the pressure to bust the pipe, or will we step into uncomfortable, step into our story, and to realize the pressure, the challenge, the difficult situation, if I grab a hold of it and take control of what I can control, which is me and my reaction and how I respond, that pressure can become something valuable like a diamond. Because there's a lot of characteristics and behaviors and habits that we develop. It's not that we set out and we began to have negative thought patterns, and we didn't set out to have negative habits. A lot of times we're around certain people, and by influence, by the exposure, by the ability of us to being close to people, we sometimes just pick up tendencies. I'm sure some of you got some friends that say certain phrases, or they talk a certain type of way, and next thing you know, you're kind of saying the same phrase. You're kind of saying the same tendency. And maybe even your mom or your dad are like, you sound just like so-and-so. Right? Because we catch up and we catch things from each other. And so for me, what I caught from my dad when I was a kid, it was his coping mechanisms. You know, like I always say, it was the fake face. It was the fake smile. It was acting like everything's good on the surface. But when I was alone and I was looking in the mirror, man, I was struggling, but I was silent. I was screaming, but I was quiet. The truth of the matter is, I got to a place, even though I was in prison, I wasn't going to wait till tomorrow or next semester or next year or whenever I got released to begin my change. Right now, in the middle of my external uncomfortability, I was going to make a stand, and I realized hard work works. Make good choices, good things happen. There's never a wrong time to do what's right. Hard work and good choices will always create opportunities for your dreams, your plans, the things you've thrown against the wall to begin to be activated. I was in prison. My external situation seemed pretty difficult. It was uncomfortable. But in the moment, I was staying active of talking and communicating and making choices. And hard work and good choices will create opportunities in the middle of your chaos, in the middle of your storm. For me, I didn't serve 15 years because I would still be incarcerated until 2024. I've actually been released and been walking and living life and doing this since 2013. See, I got released 11 and a half years early. What happened is I found the courage in the middle of an uncomfortable situation and a storm that seemed hopeless, to be honest, to not be afraid to face the thing that I was the most afraid of, which was me. Because I promise you, transparency and accountability, using the people around you, but then also realizing that we've got skin in the game, which is called action, which is called choices, and doing our best do the next right thing and treat people the way that we want to be treated, doors and opportunities will always open in the middle of your store.
I would like to tell you of two women that each sold a business to Berkshire Hathaway, to me actually, for many, many, many millions of dollars. Both of them started with $2,500. By a coincidence, it was the exact same amount. It was everything they had in the world. And one of them was a woman who landed in Seattle in 1917. She felt like a dummy. She couldn't pick up the language. She couldn't learn a word. And so she decided to move to Omaha in 1919. And then as her oldest daughter went to school, she would come home, this daughter, Frances, and she would teach her mother the words she'd learned in school that day. And this woman, Rose Blumpkin, spent 20 years saving money, $50 at a time. She sold used clothing to do it. She had 4 children during this period. And by 1937, after 20 years, she'd saved $2,500. And she bought what she could of furniture. Her dream had always been to open a furniture store. And this woman who had never gone to school one day in her life, with $2,500, but with the same spirit about having a dream and working to accomplish that dream. This woman, Rose Blumpkin, she worked for me until she was 103. And then she retired and she died the next year, which is a lesson. Premature retirement, you can't tell what's going to happen. This woman, Rose Blumpkin, she built a business which she sold to me in 1983 for $60 million approximately, and which did $1.5 billion worth of business last year. I appreciate that. When you get to be 87, people stand and applaud at the start because they're not sure whether you're going to be around at the end. Today, I'd like to tell you about one other small business person. This person, I went to buy his business from him, and he turned me down, which was very wise. But this was a fellow who was born about 8 years before I was. Didn't like school much. And I'm going to tell you one thing early in the story. Maybe you can figure out who the guy was. The company he built hires more college graduates each year than any other company. And this fellow, who was destined for this but did not know it, Jack, went to college for a year and then dropped out. Maybe he wasn't that interested in school. And the year he dropped out was 1941. So now we've got a young guy. Probably by this time he would be 23 or 24 years old. And the interesting thing is, and he actually kind of went from one job to another for a short period of, or not such a short period of time. And he finally became a used car salesman at a Cadillac dealership in St. Louis, Missouri. And at age 35, having moved up in the organization, the sales organization, he said to his boss, could I go in the car leasing business with you? The boss said, well, if you'll cut your salary in half and you'll come up with just $25,000, which he borrowed, we can become partners in a car leasing company. So my friend Jack started at age 35 in the car leasing business. And he had 7 cars. It was pretty slow. In fact, one of the things he did was whenever the phone rang, he let it ring 3 or 4 times so people would think that he was very busy answering other phones. And of course, it was the only call he was going to get all day. So his first venture was okay, but it wasn't really going to go anyplace. And there's a lesson in this for all of us. At age 40, he decided, with 17 vehicles, 17 cars, he was going to go into competition in the rent-a-car business. So now he's taking on Hertz and Avis and National and people like that who have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cars. And he's got 17 cars, and his cars aren't any different than theirs. I mean, he's buying them from General Motors or Ford or Chrysler. And he can't get the airport locations. Those companies have them all sold up. But he was determined that he would basically offer the customer, can't offer him a different car, but he can offer them friendlier service than they've ever seen. He died about a year and a half ago. But when he died, his rent-a-car company, starting with those 17 cars, was worth more than Hertz and Avis and all the rest of the rental cars put together.
Doubt, first and foremost, is always, let's say, present. Although we won't admit it, but we do doubt ourselves. That comes into play when you're not sure. We're sure what we want, but not really sure how to get there. I pause, give myself time. And although pause can be 5 seconds, pause can be 10 seconds, can be 10 minutes, can be 10 days. You gotta let this thing and this thing come together. Your heart and your mind. It all has to work as a unit, one piece, doing your due diligence to make sure you have all the information. Because when I do my road work is running 4 or 5 miles, but my road work is also checking out and knowing your weak points and strong points. It's all those things that makes a winner. Muhammad Ali gave me some advice many, many years ago. He said, Ray, be your own man, but control your own legacy and sign your own checks. I didn't understand what he was talking about, but I also wanted to be different than most fighters, unfortunately, who have fallen on the wayside. And that was to create my own legacy and maintain. And I was able to do that because I had good people around me. I had good people who were smart, who had morals, who didn't take advantage of me as a young kid, a young teenager, a young fighter. Back in the day, this is back in the 80s, early 80s, I was like 25, 26. And, I was on top of the world. I had my titles, I had the money, I had the fame. And I wasn't prepared to do anything else. So now all of a sudden I meet new friends, and all those friends turn me on to something they call cocaine. So I became an addict, I became an alcoholic, and I did all those things and giving myself no respect. And I did that for a couple of years. But the thing about it, I thank God, I'm a blessed man. I mean, I am a guy who had good people around him, and also I surrendered myself. If you don't come to grips with who you are, you'll never be happy. I am the happiest I've ever been in my life, because now I'm okay in my own skin. But I am cool with who I am. I mean, I can walk into this room and if no one recognizes me, it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay with who I am. Life is a fight. Life is a challenge. And everyone is not nice. Everyone don't have morals. And some people try to take what you have. I mean, all of those things. And I just found a place recently in the past couple of years that has made me the man I am today. I've been 10 years sober. It was hard for me to say I'm an alcoholic because I'm Sugar Ray Leonard. When I finally was able to say that, my life got better. My life got so much better. And I was sexually abused as a kid, and I kept it to myself for many, many years. It ate me for so long, and I thought it was just me who that happened to. And at certain times of the year or times of the month, it resurfaced. I never dealt with it. I always pushed it away. And the way I pushed it away was drinking or drugs. It wasn't until I faced the reality of what happened to me and accepted that and moved on that I became a better man, a better father, a better husband. It was such a release. And when I talked about the sexual abuse, I would get so emotional, really, really emotional. It's so vivid in my mind I could smell his breath. I could smell his body. I could smell it was that real, and it is that real. It took my life away because I was never happy. As much fame as I had or money as I had, I was never happy. I drank to be happy. I did cocaine, a lot of it, to be happy. So my life, for the most part, was shut down, was blacked out. And people saw me. What they saw was an individual who achieved significant stuff, but wasn't really happy, because all of a sudden now I'm saying, who likes me for who I am? It was getting to that point. My biggest problem, I suppressed things. I would never tell you what I just told you today. I would keep it to myself. If it's bothering me, if you did something wrong, I wouldn't tell you. Of all the things, I'm non-confrontational. But I found out that stress and keeping things inside can kill you. And it will kill you. There's no greater feeling to me than to give back, to make a difference. Whether it's a phone call to some fan is wonderful. It's something that you don't have to tell me twice. I got a call, and this guy, he was given a few months to live, but he wanted to speak to me. He wanted to say hi. Wow, Jesus. And it's really resonated. It was like, oh. I said, I gotta call this guy. And I did call him. I called him. I spoke with him for about an hour. And I talked to this guy. I was in tears, man. And I said, man, you keep fighting, man. He said, Ray, talking to you right now, man, it has given me so much more life and so much more courage. It's just little things that you do or you can do that makes a difference in someone's life. And I cherish that moment. And I valued that time with that young man. Boxing is a poor man's sport. And I found boxing found me, or we found each other. Because I'm so opposite of what I used to be, or what I did. I am quiet, shy, almost introverted. But to be involved with the sport that demands your respect, and it's about bravado and what have you, boxing to me was a sense of being calm, being safe, because I felt safe in the ring more so than I felt safer outside the ring. That it kind of brought me to the real world. My coach was saying that you guys can win the Olympics. That's what most kids need to hear. A sense of encouragement, depending where you come from, how you were brought up, how you were raised. Well, speaking of confidence to a young kid is powerful. Because now I believe I can do something. And I just worked hard, extremely hard every single day. You have to believe in yourself. You have to do your version of road work, which could be going to work earlier. The same principles that it required for me to be a champion, it's applicable in everyday life. And my philosophy is called POWER, which is prepare, overcome, win every round. It's here and it's here. I create the fight in my head. I see it, I feel it, I taste it. For me, talk about when I lost my first professional fight, which was so devastating, emotionally devastating. Because, like as you stated, my friends, my family, they were trying to calm me down. Although I wasn't crying, I was like hurting inside because it was a fight that I felt that I should have won, I could have won if I had a different game plan. But to help you understand why I went the route that I did was because Roberto Duran was one of the most intimidating fighters ever prior to Mike Tyson. And he cursed me out, he cursed my wife out, and he pushed me, he shoved me, he did all those things. He was like a bully, he was a bully. He challenged my manhood, he took my manhood. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna beat this guy at his own game. And I went into that ring and I was fighting toe-to-toe, which I should not have done. I mean, no one likes to lose, no one. But what makes you a winner is coming back, is getting up from knockdowns. And I lived with that for a few months. And I said, you know what, I can beat this guy. So I came back to show Roberto Duran that I can come back. So it was good for me. Well, I tend to choreograph the fight because in my head, I was good at breaking you down. And I would study tapes of you, watch your pet peeves. I would understand what makes you tick, what makes you upset, and I would play on those things. All those things were just, for me, ways of breaking you down, fundamentally, break you down. But more so here, because if I make you miss enough, well, and then I make you pay for those misses, then you doubt yourself. Because that's why they call it the sweet science of boxing.
Right.
Because people tell other people what they can't do. So they tell you, you can't do that. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, we believe them. But they're telling you what they can't do. Don't let them tell you what you can't do. I talk about success. I talk about victory. Victory is defined in so many ways. For me, my victories are my family, my gold medal, and my world titles. And for other people, the victories can be emotion, it could be a new home, it could be something that's simple. No matter how you define victory, you just gotta go for it. You have to go for it and be the fighter. We are fighters. And if I know anything about fighting, I know how to win.